Welcome back, friends. Today we're diving into a story that begins with an ordinary morning, but quickly spirals into something far more intriguing. It starts with a man named Peter, a stray dog, and a red car that seems to hold secrets no one could have guessed. What happens next will take us through unexpected twists, a father's hidden past, and a loyal companion who might just hold the key to it all. So settle in, because this is a tale you won't want to miss. Let's get started. It was in the early morning when Peter suddenly had to hit his brakes hard. He was startled when a stray dog ran full speed toward the car in front of him. A short while later, the police showed up and walked over to the car with their guns drawn, and out of the vehicle they yelled. A few seconds later, both officers turned pale from what they found in the car. The officers showed no mercy to the driver and aggressively pulled the man out of the car. "You have the right to remain silent," they told the driver, and so he did. You could already see from the driver's face that he was a criminal and that he was carrying something illegal. Not knowing what to expect, the police told Peter to stay at a safe distance. You could tell about the driver that there was something big hidden in the trunk. And when the officers opened the trunk and were absolutely shocked by what they saw. But what was in the trunk, and why did the dog keep chasing the car? Let's go back in time. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The week started as usual for Peter. Bull was on his way to work. He drove his regular route while drinking his coffee to go. Then a red car in front of him attracts his attention. The car was driving extremely slowly, forcing Peter to drive slowly as well. Peter worries about being late for work, but right when he wants to go grab his phone to determine the time, he sees a running dog appear in his side mirror. The dog turns out to be extremely quick, and given the slow speed of the red car, it doesn't take the dog a long time to catch up. Once the dog runs next to the red car, it starts to bark aggressively toward the car. What did the dog know that Peter didn't? Shortly after the aggressive barking of the stray dog, the car speeds up. The dog realizes it can't compete with this speed and decides to return. Peter follows the car for now, but once they reach a crossway, the red car takes the right exit, whereas Peter has to go left for work. Many things were crossing Peter's mind, but he couldn't find an explanation. Following the next few days, he would stake out in the street of the chase. This way, he was hoping to see more of the reasoning behind this alarming situation. He would come to regret it. Peter seemed to have wasted his time. The following day, Peter returns to work and gets in his car thinking about all the work he has to cover now that he didn't work for a few days. Now that he didn't expect anything, he once again saw the red car, but this time the car doesn't drive away once the dog is close to him. This time it continues to drive slowly next to it. Only after the dog starts to approach the red car even closer with more aggression, the red car starts to drive away rapidly. Peter doesn't hesitate. He starts to chase the red car. Somehow Peter manages to stay close to the red car without losing track of the red car. He reaches for a notepad. He manages to write down the license plate. Now that he has enough information to dive deeper into all of this, he decides to let the red car go. It's that night Peter decides to visit his father. Not only was it long due to visit him, but his experience as a retired police detective could also be very useful here. Peter's father responded with great enthusiasm. As a retired detective, he felt like he was missing out on many demanding crimes. He listened with great attention and asked many questions, but one of those questions turned out to be fatal. Once Peter's father asks something about the car, Peter responds without thinking much of it, that the car is red. While his father suddenly turned pale, he became utterly silent and soon after asked Peter to leave. Where did Peter drag his poor father into, and what did he know? A day later, Peter drives to work with one thing on his mind. As soon as he closes in on the notorious street, to his surprise, he doesn't see the car and dog at first. However, this morning was about to change drastically. There they are. Peter reaches the end of the street and suddenly sees the car entering the street. The dog, even more aggressive than usual and barking as if his life depended on it, soon followed. Watch Pratt's that. But there was another guest who appears soon riding in the opposite direction. Peter crosses ways with the police. As soon as the police see the red car, they turn on their sirens. Peter tries to track the police car by watching his back mirror. He can clearly see the police car turn around and start the chase of the red car at the same time. As Peter didn't mind the dog for a little while, he had to hit the brakes immediately in order to keep himself from hitting the dog. Manages to stop his car just in time. At the same time, the police succeed in stopping the speeding red car. Once they close in on the car, they try to persuade the dog to come with them. The red car is nowhere to go now, and with the dog calming down, they would soon make an arrest. Peter sees how they arrest the driver of the red car. Head gets out of his own vehicle planning to ask the officers whether he has to witness and mostly why this particular dog was chasing the car, but then he is asked to turn around with his hands on the back of his head. When Peter gets arrested, before his head is pressed up against the hood of his vehicle, he gets a glance at the driver of the red truck. Peter's heart drops. The man is a lot older than he thought and seems to be the former police partner of his father. But Peter can't afford to wonder, as he has to make clear that he himself is innocent. The officers put him in the back of their car, but don't seem to listen to his attempts to clarify the situation. Yes, before he knows it, Peter is on his way to the police station. Peter was losing his patience and repeatedly asked the officers what his charges were. They finally gave an answer. Sir, you're suspected to be involved in the criminal activities of Mr. James, who was arrested as well. Peter still knew nothing except for the fact that the arrested man was in fact his father's former partner. Peter's lawyer arrives shortly after and is as surprised as Peter himself. He asks Peter if he has noticed something unusual about his father lately, perhaps in mentioning something about his former partner, and Peter automatically wants to say he doesn't see much of his father, but then he remembers the strange behavior of this father the other night. The lawyer suddenly stands up, eager to hear more about it. Peter tells him how he was helpful at first, but became silent and even somewhat hostile once Peter mentioned it was about a red car. Peter's lawyer proposes to speak to his father as soon as possible. Peter requests a call, and after a little while, he's granted 5 minutes on the phone. He calls his father. Peter's lawyer advised him to just ask questions about Mr. James and not to mention his arrest, but his father doesn't cooperate and threatens to hang up the phone multiple times until he recognizes the phone number. Peter admits that he is in custody. His father changes his tone of voice and tells him to stay cool and call a lawyer. Peter responds, "I already did, Father, but I need some real help." His father feels responsible. He tells Peter before he hangs up the phone, "Hold on tight. It may take me a while, but I'll get you out of there." Right after the call, Peter is escorted back to his room and sees a few detectives have come in by now. None of them look him in the eye. Peter prepared a little for the interrogation with his lawyer. He felt comfortable as he could prove that the route he drove was just part of his routine to get to work. But that's not what they're asking him. They keep asking about Mr. James. "Isn't he a familiar face, young man? You know him, don't you?" Followed by, "Why don't you admit that you just wanted to earn some money? What the hell were they talking about?" And the lawyer stepped in, demanding proof from the detectives. Then they left the room one by one. Peter is shocked, but his lawyer is more than happy. He reassures Peter that he'll get to leave in no time since the police don't have any proof. Peter is finally released. The first thing on his mind is to go see his father. Very soon, Peter would arrive at his father's, who had a surprising guest accompanying him. Peter pulled up to the driveway and soon heard loud barks. Not just any barks. This must be the stray dog that was chasing the red car all the time. Yish. Peter is shocked as well as excited because this must mean the truth is finally coming to light. Peter tries to find the dog as he can clearly hear him bark. The more he looks for it, the more clear it becomes that the dog must be inside the house. Peter knocks on the door and he sees the dog come closer. It is the stray dog. Since his father had no mobile phone, Peter had no way of reaching him. Peter wanted to leave and leave him a note. Despite the risk of someone else reading in it, he keeps it short. Call me, and leaves with the dog. Peter goes home with the dog. Peter was minutes away from a new discovery. The news would be a turning point for Peter. And the news shows images of the arrest of Mr. James. The reporter says it's still unknown what the charges are, however it must be sincere. The reporter continues to tell how the police never revealed the true charges right after arresting a former police officer, however. Given the sincerity of the arrest, he must have done something terrible. As he evaluates the situation and decides to go for some well-earned shut-eye, but not after trying to call his father once more. Since his father didn't call him after leaving the note, Peter dials, but his father doesn't seem to pick up. Then at the very last moment, Peter hears, "Yes? Where's the dog?" It's his father. The first thing he says is about the dog. Peter calms his father down by saying he's looking after it and it's safe. Peter wants to ask his father about the importance of the dog, but his father keeps saying that Peter shouldn't watch the news, what Peter already did. The next morning, Peter wakes up after hearing the doorbell bell repeatedly. It's his lawyer who brought sandwiches and some coffee. He asked the lawyer why he was there that early. "We have to do something today. Get dressed, please." Peter decides to take his own car, since he needs space to bring the dog along. The lawyer was really pleased with the dog coming along, so he just instructed Peter to follow him and stay close. After driving for a while, Peter realized that they were picking up his father. His father got out of the house, and before getting with the lawyer, looked Peter directly in the eyes. The next and last stop turned out to be the police station. The station is surrounded by the media, and they are photographed before going in. The dog all of a sudden looks far more relaxed than before. Upon entering the police station, Peter and his father enter an interrogation room to talk about Mr. James. They us just B-stav show the RS of her brains raise the rears beggars. They tell everything they know from Peter's father's experiences with him and his suspicion of criminal activity to Peter's observations of the red car. After that, they are no longer considered suspects and are thanked for their cooperation. The stray dog turned out to be a former police dog used by Mr. James and Peter's father. The dog reacted both to Mr. James as the narcotics he was transporting with the red car. This explains his strange behavior and the importance of the dog. Makar Eater's father gets to keep the dog as a retirement gift from the police.